I read one story that summer tanning in the mulberry tree. I've only exhibited one since I've been here 6 years. I need a boost. Now this is another one of the big. I really do. I don't know how to do that.
John Wayne had actually been in a John Wayne movie.
I'm looking over for these flowers that I overlooked before. One week is sunshine, the second is rain. Third is the roses that grow in the flames. No need explaining, the one remaining is somebody I adore. I'm looking over a four-leaf clover that I overlooked before. I'm looking over a four-leaf clover that I overlooked before. One name is sunshine, the other is rain. Third is the roses that grow in the flame. No need explaining, the one remaining is somebody I adore. I'm looking over a four-leaf clover that I overlooked before. Okay, this is a pretty song, Maggie. I think most of you have heard the melody or seen these lyrics before. Very pretty song. Here's the intro. I wandered today to the hill, Maggie, to watch the sea below. The creek and the rusty the green grove is gone from the hills, Maggie, where first the daisies had sprung. The old rusty mill is now still, Maggie, since you and I were young. They say that I'm feeble with age, Maggie. My steps are much slower than thine, and my face is a well-written page, Maggie, and time all alone was the pen. They say we have outlived our time, Maggie, as dated as the songs that we've sung. But to me, you're as fair as you were, Maggie, when you and I were young. And now we are aged and gray, Maggie, and trials of life nearly done. Let us sing of the days that are gone, Maggie, when you and I were young. Pretty, thank you.
Little intro?
Yes. Steadily on we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm in arm we go, all for Marie's wedding. Over highways, up and down, myrtle green and black and brown, past the shillings through the town, all for the sake of Marie. Steadily on we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm in arm we go, all for Marie's wedding. Plenty herring, plenty meal, plenty meat to fill her creel, plenty bonny bears as well, that's the hope for Marie. Steadily on we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm in arm we go, all for Marie.
My Wild Irish Rose. Yes. My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows. You may search everywhere, but none can compare with my wild Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the dearest flower that grows. And someday, for my sake, she may let me take a bloom from my wild Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows. You may search everywhere, but none can compare with my wild Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the dearest flower that grows. And someday, for my sake, she may let me take the bloom from my wild Irish rose. Sweet Rosie O'Grady, my dear little rose. She's my special lady, most everyone knows. And when we are married, oh, how happy we'll be. I love Susie O'Grady, and Rosie O'Grady loves me. One more time. Sweet Rosie O'Grady, my dear little rose. She's my special lady, most everyone knows. And when we are married, oh, how happy we'll be. I love sweet Rosie O'Grady, and Rosie O'Grady loves me. JT, why don't you come up here and share that beautiful voice you have with us up here? How about JT coming forward here? How about that? JT come forward here. You guys can sit there or sit up or lean on the back of one of these. Just stand. Yeah, you. Over in Killarney, many years ago, my mother sang a song to me in tones so sweet and low. Just a simple lily in her good old Irish way. I'd give that she would sing that song to me this day. Lura, 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 la. Lura, lura, lura. Hush now, don't you cry. Lura, lura, lura. Lura, lura, la. Lura, lura, lura. That's an Irish lullaby. Wow, JT's smiling.
and laughter like some merry song. Your eyes are bright as can be. You laugh all the while and all of your time smile. Now smile, smile for me. When Irish eyes are smiling, sure it's like a morning spring. In the lilt of Irish laughter, you can hear the angels sing. When Irish hearts are happy, all the world seems bright and gay. And when Irish eyes are smiling, sure they steal your heart away.
Another time on that chorus.
When Irish eyes are smiling, sure it's like a morning spring. In the lilt of Irish laughter, you can hear the angels sing. When Irish hearts are happy, all the world seems bright and gay. And when Irish eyes are smiling, sure they'll steal your heart away.
You don't mind if I go back for another kiss, do you?
At your risk.
That is my risk.
Only green hair.
It has nothing to do with the fact that the Irish are like their beer and whiskey, but this is called
My brother Bill runs a still on the hill where he locks up a gallon or two. The birds in the sky get so high they can fly, smelling that good old Mountain Dew. They call it that good old Mountain Dew, and that they use it or few. I'll hush up my mug if you'll fill up my jug with a quart of that good old Mountain Dew. My Uncle Mort, he is sawed off and short. He measures a 4'2". But he thinks he's a giant when you give him a pint of that good old Mountain Dew. My Auntie June's got a brand new perfume. It has such a sweet smelling view. Imagine her surprise when she had it analyzed. Turned out to be that good old Mountain Dew. They call it that good old Mountain Dew, and that you use it or few. I'll hush up my mug if you'll fill up my jug with a quart of that good old Mountain Dew. Mr. Roosevelt told me just how he felt the day the liquor law went through. Said if your whiskey's red, it will swell up your head. Better stick to that good old Mountain Dew. They called it that good old Mountain Dew, and that they used it or few. I'll hush up my mug if you'll fill up my jug with a quart of that good old Mountain Dew. I'll fill up. That's it.
We have a special story from our renowned chairman of the Board of Selectmen. Today is honored as an Irishman, as all of us are. There's only two types of people in the world. Those that are Irish and those that wish they were. Selectman Chair Donald Hawks.
Oh, Don. These days, I don't want anybody calling me Donald. You can bring I'm thinking I might change my name, actually, depending on the outcome of the election. But I'm glad to be here. And I came, my last name is Hawks. It's not a very Irish name. It's a Yankee name. My family's been around since 1630.
a couple of these?
But somewhere along the line, there was somebody from the old sod that kind of snuck into the bloodline. And I ended up with a cousin, Paddy. And it doesn't go too well with Hawks. But, he's a distant cousin. And he got off the boat and he went up to Vermont. decided to set himself up a farm up there, see if he could grow potatoes or anything else. And after he'd been there a while, he sent me an invitation. He says, Don, why don't you come up and visit me? Sure, I'd love to see you. So I made my way up to the wilds of Vermont before GPS days, and I found my way down this dead-end road. Yep. And he had told me ahead of time, well, when you get here, he says, you're going to have to fight your way through some serious underbrush to get up to the house. But don't worry, you'll be finding it. So, sure enough, I parked the car at the end of the dirt road and started walking through this tremendous underbrush. All of a sudden, I see this enormous pig come rushing out of the underbrush, come at me snorting, and drove me to the brink of distraction. I said, oh my God, what is this all about? About that time, I see Patty coming down the steps and waving and welcoming me in. He said, oh, sure be God, I'm glad you made it. And he said, did you have any trouble finding us? I said, well, no, I didn't have any trouble finding you, but now I can't get up there because of this pig. And I just noticed, as I'm looking at this pig, he's got a wooden leg. What's going on here? And he said, oh, don't you be saying nothing bad about that pig, I'll tell you. He says, he saved my life more than once. And I said, well, that's incredible, but what? Never mind any buts, let me tell you the first time. He said, we'd only been up here a couple of months. And he says, it was in the spring, and I was on the side of the hill with a tractor, and it was all slippery mud, and sure enough, this tractor flipped over and caught me underneath. It was pinning the breath out of me. I would have died on the spot, except for one thing. That pig that you're talking about come along, sensing the danger, and he pulled me out, grabbed me by the scruff of my neck. Geez, there goes my hair, I get so excited. and he pulled me out, saved me life. Would have crushed the breath right out of me. He said, well, that's an amazing story. That's incredible. But what about never mind, I'll tell you one more. He says, me and the good wife Peggy, sure we were sleeping on a cold winter's night with a fire roaring, and apparently some embers got out and spread, and the house was engulfed in smoke. And we would have died in our beds of suffocation, except for that pig. He come over right by the bedroom window, and he broke the pane of glass and started squealing. Woke us up, saved our lives one more time. He said, you know, this is such an amazing story. You ought to go on one of these TV shows with the, the amazing animal stories. But now you've got to tell me, what's the story with the wooden leg? He says, sure enough, a great pig like that, you don't eat him all at once.
Patty and Mickey were stumbling along on the railroad tracks after they'd been out having a wee bit of ales, something to down it with. Mickey turns to Patty and he goes, Patty, but Jesus, this is the longest staircase I've ever been on. And Mickey turns and says, yeah, but it's these low railings that are killing me.
Well, when Patty moved from Ireland, he had a famous recipe for his beer. When he came to America, he lost the recipe. But he brewed his beer anyway. And he would drink his beer and not say anything. But everyone else would say, Patty, there's something wrong with your beer. No, it's good beer, it's good beer. I make it myself. There's something wrong with your beer. Have it analyzed. You can send it to the state university to send them a sample of it and have them analyze it. To send it to the agriculture department and they'll tell you what's in there and what you should put on it. So he did. He waited for his diagnosis to come back. Finally it did. He read it and he realized he had sent it to the veterinarian school. He came back and he says, Patty, your horse has diabetes.
Patrick
a goat,
and
a
Michael
lion, and a serpent.
are on this bridge, and they're fishing.
My kids have some.
And Patrick looks to Michael and says, Michael, could that be you? We haven't seen each other in 50, 60 years. Michael looks back to Patrick and says, Patrick, could that be you? We haven't seen each other since high school. Patrick says, Michael, what have you been doing with yourself? Michael says, well, you know, I was a pretty good student in high school here in Ireland, and I really wanted to do something, so I immigrated to America. I went to America and I became a doctor and made a lot of money, and I really established myself. And the whole time I was there, I just thought of Ireland, and for the most part, I thought of how I wish I could someday retire and come back to Mother Island and fish off this bridge. So Michael looks at Patrick. Said, Patrick, all these 60, 70 years, what have you been doing? Patrick says, well, you know, I wasn't much of a student, and I didn't do well in school. So most days I just worked the farm and did what I could. But every day I came down to this bridge and fished off this bridge.
Robert Alessio.
This song I remember from late 1950s. It's about Boston. I was living in Pittsburgh where I grew up. It's not really Irish, but it speaks of an Irish mayor who was trying to get re-elected. You remember the term Charlie on the MTA?
Oh, yeah.
By the Kingston Trio, exactly. The Kingston Trio. Great trio that it is. Was. So, these are the times that try men's souls. In the course of our nation's history, the citizens of Boston have rallied bravely whenever the rights of man have been threatened. And today, a new crisis has arisen. The Metropolitan Transit Authority, better known as the MTA, is threatening to levy a burdensome tax on the population in the form of a subway fare increase. Horrible! Citizens, hear us out. This could happen to you. Well, let me tell you a story. A man named Charlie on a tragic and fateful day. He pretends his lock and kissed his wife and family went to ride on the MTA. But did he ever return? No, he never returned. And his fate is still unlearned. He may ride forever neath the streets of Boston. He's a man who never returned. Charlie handed in his dime at the Campbell Square station and he changed for Jamaica Plain. When he got there, the conductor told him one more nickel. Charlie could not get off of that train. Why did he ever return? No, he never returned. And his fate is still unlearned. He may ride forever neath the streets of Boston. He's the man who never returned. Charlie rides to the station. I'm sorry, Charlie handed in his dime. Sing that. Now all night long, Charlie rides to the station crying, what will become of me? How can I afford to see my sister in Chelsea or my cousin in Roxbury? Will he ever return? No, we never return, and his fate is still unlearned. He may ride forever neath the streets of Boston. He's the man who never returned. Charlie's wife goes down to the Sculpture station every day at 2:15. And through the open window she hands Charlie a sandwich as the train comes rumbling through. Did he ever return? No, he never returned. And his fate is still unlearned. He may ride forever neath the streets of Boston. He's a man who never returned. Now the citizens of Boston, don't you think it's a scandal how the people have to pay and pay? Like the fare increase, vote for George O'Brien, get for Charlie on the MTA. Or did he ever return? No, he never returned, and his fate is still unlearned. He may ride forever neath the streets of Boston. He's a man who never returned. He's a man who never returned. Yeah, right.
in the ring with him.
Yay. I've been on the green light, the red light. I've been on the wall.
48.